You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com. Welcome back to Our Daily Show on this beautiful 7th day of September. Another mild day. I think we all needed that after the heat wave. Zelina Vega on the line with the WWE in town on October the 6th. How are we doing this Thursday morning?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, we're hanging in there. You know, right off the bat, I just got to say, you know, watching your appearance at Backlash, watching that moment was so special. And I just got to ask you right off the bat, how was that moment for you? What were those feelings when you're, you know, walking out throughout that curtain and embracing the thousands that are there to watch?
It's funny, just you saying like waiting by the curtain and my heart just sank again. It's weird how you can, you know, put yourself back there mentally and kind of just feel it for a brief second. But my God, it was so nerve wracking. But I remember Ray like specifically saying, just relax, like you got this, just breathe. And like everything that he said from the night prior, because we had a tag match prior, which of course 8-year-old me was like, what? You made events of SmackDown and won with your hero and then got matching tattoos with him later. What is life? But then you know, and then the next day obviously having Backlash just happened and everything just went kind of fast. I remember feeling like everything went so fast and then everything froze the second I opened the curtain. It was wild. Like there was nothing I could have imagined it would have felt like. There was nothing to compare it to. It was almost like a dream come true in one match. It was really weird, but like in the best of ways possible, because that was my WrestleMania. I say that like all the time. That was my WrestleMania moment. Like somebody was saying that crowd was almost as cool as watching like Hogan versus Rock, because the crowd was just so insane as far as like how their energy levels was. And I was like, you know what? I remember that match, and I remember saying, wow, the crowd is really amazing, you know? And just to be able to feel a piece of what they might have felt like that day, it's just insane. And I feel like it was almost heavier, you know, because of where it was and what it meant to me and what it meant to the LWO, and obviously having the legends come back. It's just like, my God, it was just a party. It was amazing.
Well, and I that's what I was just so curious about, because to me, there would be no way you can prepare yourself for that magnitude of that moment. And just mentioning, you know, a segue into the LWO and mentioning, you know, Rey Mysterio and having, you know, the ability to work with one of your, you know, the individuals you love watching growing up, one of your heroes. Is there any, you know, guidance, any type of feedback that he's given you in the last couple of years that really has just helped take you to this next level?
I mean, so many, but I mean, recently, I remember thinking, I was like, I feel like my 619 is slow, bro. Like I told him, like, I feel like it's slow. Like, I feel like there's something I'm missing. And he was like, all right, well, so what you got to do is, and he was like, kind of like going into it. And I was like, okay. And then the next day we had a live event and I heard a banging at the door, at the locker room door. And I heard, Zelina, come here. And I was like, oh God, what did I do? And I come out and it's Ray and he's like, let's go. And I was like, what are we doing? And he's like, I'm going to show you. And I was like, okay. like, no big deal. It's okay. It's all good. But yeah, it's just him even just showing me that. I told him, I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing the 619 until you approve it. Like, that's how much respect, not just me, but I feel like anybody has when it comes to Ray. And you know, he's so like, no, like it's a part of you now. Like it's something that I'm giving to you. And I'm just like, I swear to God, I feel like I should pinch myself sometimes. It's weird. But yeah, it's just hearing him saying in these moments, like, slow down, breathe, it's okay. Or one of the live events we had, he was ringside for me. And I was right about to hit the 619 and I'm bouncing off the ropes that he's at. And I hear him screaming. He's like, run as fast as you can, hit that. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm pretty sure I smacked Rhea till like next Thursday, but like at that point, like I was going so fast. I was like, okay, it was so funny. But like, yeah, it's just having him in my corner is just the coolest thing that 8-year-old Thea could have ever imagined.
That's just incredible. And I mean, you've had such a great career with the WWE, you know, former tag team champion for the women. You won the Queen's Crown tournament in 2021. And really just, you know, every time I've turned on the screen, and when I was at, it was kind of funny, not to kind of segue this in, but I was sitting there when training for wrestling myself, and I was over in Texas. And one of the things that always drew me was the way that you could control, you know, talk to the crowd and really embrace them, whether or not they loved you or whether or not that you were ready to tell them how you were feeling. What's your connection with that fan base, with your audience, and how special is that?
I think it goes back to just, I hate to say it like this, but I'm a New Yorker. And when we are, especially the smaller ones, I mean, you know, when all you might have is your mouth, you may not have a whole mighty fist, but you have a mighty mouth. And, you know, that's kind of how I had to be for the longest time, is like, to avoid any kind of maybe hits to the face, you got to bruise their ego enough to make them turn away, you know? So it's just, you got to be quick-witted. And that was a really big part of who I became, because I mean, God, I was so nervous to get on the mic at any point. Which is funny, because a lot of people say that now, like, I can't believe you were like afraid. And I'm like, yeah, I was a nervous wreck every time I had to get on the mic. But now I can talk about whatever forever. And it's just because I embraced the real me. And I think that now, especially, I mean, I spoke to Paul Heyman about this, because, you know, obviously Paul being one of the big influences that I had going in as a manager, I was like, I just want to be as comfortable and as, you know, have that swag that you have, you know. And he's like, well, you're from New York, be you. And that kind of just changed everything.
Well, and I was always curious about this too, and not to go too deep into this, but I just always find it fascinating to watch and learn about, you know, how characters come to life, how, you know, Zelina Vega came to life and all the other greats that came before you. And, you know, one thing that I think is so fascinating is being, you know, your role in the WWE and all the traveling you're doing, the millions of people you're encountering. Do you think that, you know, that stepping out moment, that, you know, be you moment helped you in your personal life too at all?
I'd say so. I mean, when you can kind of have, I mean, I heard The Rock say it so many times, if you take Dwayne and you dial him up to 100, that's how you get The Rock. And I think same with me. It's like you take Thea and you dial her up to 100, and that's how you get Zelina. Because, I mean, there were so many times where I'm like, no, I mean, I had to slap Rey Mysterio while I was sitting on the ladder. And as I was freaking out internally, as Thea, Zelina was like, yeah, I just slapped you in the face. Oh no, I'm on the ladder. Like, you know, so it's moments like that where it's like, no, I may not think, oh, I hate Rey Mysterio, but it's just making sure that you can convey as much realness as possible. And I think that a big part of that for me too is as a kid, I thought that you had to, you know, get into acting first, you know, because I knew, you know, at 10 years old, I couldn't get in the ring, but I at least knew that I can start getting into acting and learn how to do that first. Because I always found it so fascinating watching the Rock Cut promos and seeing how funny he was, and, you know, getting to see the drama between Trish and Lita backstage and what's going to happen. Oh my God, Trish just kissed Jeff Hardy. I hate her. You know what I mean? Just like stupid things like that. So I was like, man, I need to learn how to do that first. And I think that also plays a big part, is just learning how to take a character and make it resonate with people.
And absolutely, and you know, not to keep moving forward, I know that we're, you know, time's limited, and I so appreciate it. Before I go into the Enterprise Smackdown on October the 6th, I got to ask you, you know, Io Sky and taking on Bayley and some of the best women wrestlers out there, you yourself are in that category. Is there one opponent that you guys just kind of just know whenever we're facing each other, we're pulling out all the stops and we're going to create a barn burner? Is there one for you?
Rhea Ripley.
Really? I like it. Absolutely.
Because that girl, oh my God. Like, the thing is, when we got to do Backlash, it was, you know, and I've heard her do this interview, and it was funny to me because even she knows, she's like, the way she said it was, you know, the fact that she's like, I wanted to smile for her, but I wouldn't do that. She's like, I saw her crying, and she doesn't do that. Like, Zelina does not cry. So, and she's usually an angry little gremlin all the time. So, you know, to see her emotional, it clearly meant a lot to her. And I was like, man, if you even know that, I wonder how the fans think of something, you know, that happened that way, you know, how it happened in Backlash. But for her and I to get in there and just I can read her like no other person. Like I can feel her movements, and she doesn't even have to do or say anything. I know what she's doing right away. I can look in her eyes and I know what she's going for. And the only other person that's really happened with was Andrade. I knew from the second that he moved a certain way or looked a certain way, I knew what he was going for, and I knew what I had to be there for. And with her, it's the same thing. I can just, it's the yin and yang, you know, and I feel like she's my perfect opposite. And the more I get to work with Io, the more I'm starting to feel that way about Io, because I mean, my God, when I was in Stardom in 2016, I wanted to wrestle Io so bad, because I remember watching her thinking, man, she's so good. She's so cool. And I never got to do it. When we were in Stardom, I never got to do it. So fast forward, we actually got to have our match during the tribute show to Bray Wyatt. And we both came back from that like, wow, that was really amazing. And obviously the gravity of it with, you know, doing it for Bray. But I also realized in that moment, like, wow, like we work really well together. And I can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. And that's something I'm looking forward to as well. And as we segue a little bit further and look towards October the 6th, you know, take us through, you know, your ins and outs on SmackDown at the Enterprise Center. What are you looking to do? I know that you guys are busy and have some stuff coming down the pipeline. Is there something that you're looking to fill the public in on before you make your appearance in St. Louis?
I think more than anything is that I try to have little ways for the crowd to get to know me more and more each time. And there's little things that I like to add to, whether it's my in-ring work, whether that's my promo work, whether that's even my outfits. You know, like there's certain things that I like to do to get them to know me more and more. And even in this past one, getting to wear, you know, my Cyber Bunny kind of like, you know, Puerto Rican headphones, you know, it's like she's showing that she's still that gamer girl, but she's also like repping Puerto Rico still. Like Backlash didn't get away from me. Like that may have happened in May and it was there, but that lives on for me. Like that's not something that I took lightly. That's something that I'm carrying with me no matter what. And I think it's cool too, because, you know, as I continue to have that flag on me and wear that so proudly, and so does Damian Priest, I'm getting to see that, you know, it's starting to resonate with some of the girls in NXT, you know, like, I see that, you know, Elektra now is all of a sudden wearing a Puerto Rican flag and showing her, you know, her love for Puerto Rico there, or Roxanne Perez getting to, you know, show the flag in her way. And I think that Backlash was more important than I realized at the time, and it inspired so many people that it was such a crazy, I just don't take that very lightly, you know, and it's it's something that I take with such pride, because getting to be that person that people look to is something that I never thought that I would be. But I mean, my God, to hear it is just the coolest thing ever. So when it comes to St. Louis, I always say that, like, if you guys can pick it out, there's going to be something that I'm going to wear that day specifically. If you guys can pick it out, I'd love to. What I do is I drop something, and if they pick it up and they tweet me on Twitter, I always like hit them with a follow, or I'll do something special for them because that person was paying attention, you know? So it's always like a fun little game I get to play with people.
That's incredible. And hey, Zelina, before I let you go, one thing I did want to ask, if it's okay, something I saw this morning was just some kind of, I don't want to say news, but just kind of reports about some conversations, and you mentioned Bray Wyatt in that tribute show, and I want to ask you about his impact on you, because I was looking into this, maybe that, you know, he might have been a pretty big advocate for you. Is that true, or am I reading the wrong dirt sheet?
I laughed at the dirt sheet line. No, it's true. It's very, very true. He has been someone that's always had my back, and it's weird to even say was, you know, it still hasn't really hit me in that kind of way. Like, that was definitely one of the hardest days that I've ever had at work, for sure. It was that tribute show. Especially because earlier in the day, like, you know, you're going through everything, and, you know, but I remember specifically, like, he was the one that, you know, there was a time where I was traveling with everybody like a rosebud and just trying to get a second look. And he knew how much I wanted to be there. He knew how badly I wanted to just be a part of it. And, you know, like having him there and like cheering me on during a tryout match, like and then telling, talent relations at the time, she needs to be with us. Like, she deserves to be here with us. And I remember Mark was the guy he was talking to, and he was like, I know, I'm trying. So it's just cool to say that you had someone like Bray looking out for you, because it wasn't just me, like, he looked out for everybody, like all his friends, like anybody that met Bray always felt the impact of Bray Wyatt. And that was, as Wyndham, he cared about people. He cared about his people. And I said this before, but they say that he really had the whole world in his hands, but the people that he wanted to give that world to the most was his wife and kids. And I couldn't think that was just the most beautiful thing to me.
Absolutely. And Zelina, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you calling in and really filling us in ahead of your appearance in St. Louis at the Enterprise Center. You got a busy month ahead of you until then. I hope you keep doing well. And if you ever want to come back on, you are more than welcome to.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It was fun.
No problem. I had a great time. We'll take a quick break, guys. More of our daily show rolls around the corner on the 7th day of September next in downtown Alton.